Present.
Here.
Here. Okay, before we approve the minutes, I would like to ask the council to amend the agenda. We realized that, two things were actually left off the agenda. The first was, the D'Agostino building on the corner of, Jefferson and Court that was gifted to us. We had roof repairs. They went over, so we're asking for you to, amend the agenda to vote on, the difference for the roof repair, to make that 16A. And also, the cooperative, cooperative endeavor agreement for Family Day in the Park was left off, from One West Baton Rouge. So we're asking for you to make that 17A to vote on. Can I get a roll call, please? Joseph?
Yes.
I'm sorry. A motion, please.
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Anyone in the public? Roll call, please. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon? Yes. Payne?
Yes.
Hubble?
Yes.
King? Yes. Motion passes. Okay, thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 8th, 2026.
I make that motion to approve the minutes with any necessary correction.
I second.
It was a motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Public comments. Public comments per Louisiana Revised Statute 4211 and Port Allen Ordinance Section 2 through 34. It's 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic. No one signed in tonight. So we're gonna move on to the agenda. Number 1, consider accepting the results of the RFQ for engineering services for the PHMSA grant and authorizing the mayor to execute the professional services agreement. Mr. Data?
As mentioned last week, we only had one engineering firm that responded or submitted the request for engineering services for the pipeline grant, and that was Pan American Engineers LLC. I forwarded y'all all the 50-page engagement. We did not print it out for your binders trying to save trees, so if you do want a physical hard copy, let me know. We have forwarded that engagement to our legal to vet the entire 50-page. They are still in the process of going through it, so my recommendation would be to give the mayor the authority to sign the engagement pending legal's approval of the engagement.
I second.
It's motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon? Yes. Hubble?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. 2, consider accepting the road rehabilitation project as substantially complete and authorizing the municipal clerk to file the notice of acceptance. Mr. Tony?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This we brought up at the, your committee meeting, and this is basically authorizing us to start the clock for their warranty period. Of course, substantial completion is simply being able to use it for its intended purpose, and obviously the road is done, so that makes sense. So I recommend that y'all, authorize the mayor to execute it.
I have a question.
Yes.
In the past, and I think we may have talked about this, this is my first road project as mayor. I've worked here, so I've never heard before notifying any of the, constituents, citizens, or whoever about the road project. Is that something that we need to do in the future?
It should, and I apologize if it wasn't, but it should have been done by the contractor. they are supposed to, before they do any work on the road, put little door tabs on everybody's thing so they know, like, don't park on the street, that kind of stuff. But that's in the contractor's contract. So if they're not doing it, just need to let us know and we'll make sure they do.
Okay, I'm assuming they didn't because.
You had calls?
Some of the, I did.
Well,
and
yeah, it tells me they didn't.
on social
Okay.
media about
Just showing up and starting. Yeah, well.
But if they don't do that, can we penalize them? Not doing their job?
I don't think so, but I promise you, we will mention it.
I mean, if we do that, then they'll start notifying.
like I said, I never knew them doing it before.
And you know what, Mayor? I never heard that they weren't, so to be honest, I never checked. But certainly they're supposed to. And if, I'll make that clear at the next road pre-construction, that actually needs to happen, not just be words in the specs.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. 3, consider accepting the cost adjustment for the final change order on the road rehabilitation project and authorizing the mayor to execute closeout documents. Mr. Tony?
This is, of course, projects are all unit price. So you have like, so many tons of this and square yards. And at the end of the job, we summarize it. And essentially, on this particular project, you went a little under. And so we need to make the numbers jive, we need to execute a negative change order in the amount of $8,766.86. So that'll be money we don't pay to the contractor. About the cost of putting out those things, maybe.
Motion, please.
Make the motion. I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble? King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number 4, consider confirming the hiring of Kendrick Beverly as Uniform Patrol Officer, Step Grade 110A, Port Allen Police Department, Chief.
Yeah, how y'all doing today, council, everybody, mayor? I got everybody here today that I'm looking to hire, including Miss Perkins, who's hiding all the way in the back. I had everyone step up last week if you had any questions or concerns, but I can call Miss Perkins up here if y'all want to talk to her right now.
Good evening. How's everyone? Hello.
I was wondering if that was your real name. I always called you Rudy.
Yeah.
Right.
I would prefer to be called Rudy. It just happened. It just happened to be the name on my birth certificate. Everybody knows me. I'm from here. It's a pleasure to be back here. I want to come back here because I'm ready to come home. I've been in Baton Rouge for roughly about 11 years, policing, uniform patrol. I'm making a difference where I'm at, but it's not my community. So I just want the opportunity to come back to where I'm from to try to make a difference.
I've seen you in different events, and I've been knowing you forever. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just there, some of the different kids' IDs and different things.
Yeah, I did Operation Safe Summer. I did the one recently with the mayor of Baton Rouge before she got replaced. I do a couple of events with nonprofit organizations, just patrolling, but mostly playing with kids.
That's, you gonna bring that over here?
I mean, if it's available, I'll work it. I mean, I like it. Like me personally, I don't have a problem with going play with kids.
Okay.
So, and if they got a basketball court, y'all know I'm there.
Okay. Well, we do.
See?
Well, welcome home.
Thank you, thank you for having me.
All
So with Ms. Perkins, along with Mr. Deloche, Matthew Hall, and Mr. Beverly, after speaking to every single one of them multiple times before getting to this point, once again, I explained my vision and what I wanted from every single one of them, and all of them, they understood. They know we're trying to build something new over here, and they are eager to help me build what we're trying to do for our community, and I'm excited to bring them all aboard. So, y'all have anything else for me, or y'all want to talk to anybody else?
I just wanna say something. I am so proud of you young people, especially my little Rudy and my little Kevin, because I saw them ever since they were babies, and look at them now. I am so proud of you guys. And congratulations, Kevin, on your graduation.
Yeah.
Be so proud of you. I am so proud of my kids, because I worked with Rudy in school, and, Kevin, I know you from the family. So, Beverly and,
Hall.
Halls, I don't know who you are, but that face, let me know, I'm gonna know you.
Yeah.
We also happy that the young people wanna come out and be a part of our city and our community. And I hope you make all of us proud, and I hope you stay. You might wanna leave for $1 more, but it's not safer than Port Allen. So you have to look at all that. Don't put it in your head. We are the best, and we on the safe side. So, just stay with us, because we have an awesome chief. And, thank you all so much for coming.
Does y'all have anything else?
So, for confirming, the hiring of Kendrick Beverly as uniform patrol officer, step grade 110A, for the Port Allen Police Department. A motion, please.
I second Gary.
Motion by Councilman Hubble, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. And 5, consider confirming the hiring of Kevin Deloach Jr. as uniform patrol officer, step grade 110A, Port Allen Police Department. Motion?
Make that motion.
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. 6, consider confirming the hiring of Quenisha Perkins as detective, step grade 112I, Port Allen Police Department.
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
7, consider confirming the hiring of Matthew Hall as post-certified police officer, step grade 112A, Port Allen Police Department. Motion?
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Stay up, Chief.
Oh, I wasn't going nowhere.
Oh, okay.
I have anything I want to say?
You're welcome. And congratulations on your graduation. Number 8, consider authorizing the mayor to execute an addendum to the existing agreement between the Port Allen Police Department and the Lexi Police System. Chief?
Once again, with that addendum I explained last week, they broke it down by tiers after the fact, and from there, I was able to talk to the VP along with the supervisor with sales, and we was able to correct that by getting all of the service for no cost. So it was we had $13,000, but we got it for $0. Zero.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman King. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please. Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. I'm assuming this is you?
Yeah, most definitely.
9, approve expenditure of $8,000
Okay. I'd like to also add this. So I hadn't gotten a chance to go to my emails until the end of the day with the new quote. So from the original design that I had, which was $8,800, we changed it up a little bit, so it's cheaper. So it's actually $4,000. So, sin- but once again, once I get everything, I'll make sure I get it to Adrian and I'll send it up to you guys so you'll be able to see it. But as of right now, the restriping has dropped half the cost that I actually asked for originally. It's gonna be 4.4.
And that's still all 11 cars?
Yeah. Yeah, I had to simplify it, and the reason why is because when I seen what I wanted to do and the actual result of how it was going to turn out, it wasn't worth that. So I just simplified the whole design. As of right now, anyways, I plan on coming back to it at a later date. But as of right now, to make sure we get to every vehicle to look the same. I'm tired of seeing like we got a Ghost Tahoe, then we got the old striping, then we got BRPD Port Allen vehicles. So I'm just ready to make everything look like one.
I second.
So the motion is, from the 8,800 to the 4,400.
Correct.
Dollars for the restripping of the 11 Port Allen Police Department vehicles. So motion by,
We don't have to go back over it since it's in the price.
So just make sure that the motion that is on the floor is the correct amount, that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 44.
motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 10, consider adopting the updated LCDBG resolution in signature form and designating the mayor as the city's authorized representative for all LCDBG correspondence. Mr. Daigle?
As mentioned last week, the LCBD has a lot of forms. One of those forms is a authorized signature form. That form is the form that says who can submit payments to the grant to get reimbursed. We had chosen a chief administrative officer as one of those, and since we had a replacement for the chief administrative officer, we have to redo the form in its entirety, and it has to be by resolution by the council, since the mayor is also one of the ones that could be doing that, and she cannot authorize herself or on the form. So it's legal paperwork that the LCBD requires for us to do.
Motion by Councilman Hubble, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
12, consider approving the engagement of Fontenot Benefits and Architectural Consulting and authorizing the mayor to execute the engagement agreement. Mr. Daigle?
This is a 2-year agreement that's required by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board to calculate our OPEB liability. They use the census data that we provide for them, and they keep the data for 2 years, so they don't ask for new data every year. So that's why it's a 2-year contract. They use the same data from 1 year to calculate the OPEB liability in the audit for each year. And I wish all engagements were 1 page long like this one was that I forwarded to you.
Motion, please.
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. 13, public hearing of a resolution setting the millage rates for the tax year 2026 for all properties subject to taxation within the city of Port Allen in the following manner. General alimony, 7.180 mills. Police Department, 5.020 mills. originally approved by voters through a tax proposition election held on October 19th, 1985, for a period of 10 years beginning with 1986 and renewed by voters through a special election held on October 21st, 1995, for a period of 10 years beginning with 1996 and again renewed by voters through a special election held on January 15th, 2005, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2006, renewed by voters through a special election held on November 21st, 2015, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2016 and renewed again by voters through a special election held on November 15th, 2025, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2026. Mr. Daigle.
This is the public hearing for our constituents if they would like to comment on, since taxes directly affect them. It was published in our official journal. The legislative auditor requires each year taxing authorities adopt a resolution setting what the millage rates are for that particular year. These millage rates are exactly the same as we used last year. So, public?
Anyone from the public who wish to be heard on this item? Okay, public hearing closed. 14, adopt a resolution setting the millage rates for the tax year 2026 for all properties subject to taxation within the city of Port Allen in the following manner. General alimony, 7.180 mills, police department, 5.020 mills. Originally approved by voters through a tax proposition election held on October 19th, 1985, for a period of 10 years beginning with 1986 and renewed by voters through a special election held on October 21st, 1995, for a period of 10 years beginning with 1996 and again renewed by voters through a special election held on January 15th, 2005, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2006, renewed by voters through a special election held on November 21st, 2015, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2016 and renewed again by voters through a special election held on November 15th, 2025, for a period of 10 years beginning with 2026. Mr. Daigle?
This is the resolution. Be it resolved that the following millages are hereby levied on the 2026 tax roll on all properties subject to taxation by the city of Port Allen. General alimony, 7.180 mills. Police department, 5.020 mills. Be it further resolved that the proper administrative officials of the city of Port Allen, Parish of West Baton Rouge, State of Louisiana, be and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as hereinabove set forth upon the assessment roll of said parish for the year 2026, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and that the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all properties subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, the roll was called on the adoption thereof, and the resolution was adopted by the following votes.
Motion, please. Motion by Councilwoman King, second by Councilwoman Gordon, sorry. Motion by Councilwoman King, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Gordon? Yes. Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes, ma'am.
Thank you. 15, first reading and introduction of an ordinance amending the 2025-2026 all funds budget pursuant to the Local Government Budget Act. You should stay up.
I'm ready to go back and sit down. Mr. Smith of Falk and Winkler, who has assisted with preparing the budget amendment and the budget, so he will be speaking on both number 15 and number 16. I emailed you the documents he sent to me on Monday, but he's got the hard copies for you, so that's why we didn't print them out, trying to save trees again, so you would have two copies, but As he discusses it, you'll have the hard copies in front of you, and he's got it in both. That document contains both, because that's how the Louisiana Governmental Budget Act works, is that you have your adjusted for the current year and the new budget for the new year in this, so you're looking at the data together. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Good to see you all. Just want to formally introduce myself. My name is Joshua Smith, and I am a manager at Falcon Winkler in our Governmental Services Group. So today, as Adrian said, we're here to introduce the amendment to your 2026 fiscal year-end budget, and also introduce the proposed budget for 2027. And so what you have in front of you, I just handed you out the packet. It's a pretty comprehensive packet. I won't get into the details of every single page, but what I'll be referring to throughout the delivery is the first couple of pages after the table of contents. So you should see a page that says major events and assumptions. That's what I'll be referring to as I give you a summarized kind of overview of what the amended 2026 budget entails and what the proposed 2027 budget has. So from a timeline perspective, we're introducing both of them today for consideration for adoption at your June 10th meeting. As it stands, this is the draft, and as you all kind of have your chance to review it and any inputs or comments, we can get input throughout this meeting into the next meeting. But we work together with the mayor, her team, Adrian, and various department heads input to compile what we have in front of you today. So overall, the reason for amending the 2026 budget is to be in compliance with the Local Governmental Budget Act. Main two funds causing that amendment were your Section 8 fund, low-income housing. So we did amend the revenues and expenditures. They came in higher than what we had projected. So we're just boosting those up to make sure we stay in compliance with the law. And so the net impact is really nothing to the bottom line. It's just they pretty much both have the same increase. And then the other amendment that was kind of pretty much the main point for 2026 was we did adjust sales tax down on 2026, the 2026 fiscal year, and did have a little bit of a trend downwards compared to your previous couple of years, which I'll kind of go over as I go over the key assumptions for 2027. And so that's the outline as it relates to 2026. They're all incorporated, the amendments for 2026 and also the proposed budget for 2027. So from there, I'll jump into the major assumptions leading into our next fiscal year for 2027. And so if you're looking at your overview page, and the numbers from this overview are coming from page 3 and 4. So if you just wanted to see the numbers as well, that's where I'll be referencing most of these kind of key points. And so in 2027, we're projecting overall revenues to be at around $13 million. Not too far off from 2026. Main drivers are your sales tax are projected at 4.1 and property taxes at roughly $715,000. Sales tax has been projected a bit lower than 2025 and 2024, which we experienced some peak years there. So we kind of averaged it between where we were in those 2 years and where we're projected to end in 2026. Utility revenues will be up, or we're projecting to be up by at least 4.4 million, which is up from 2027. And the remainder of your revenues are pretty much your fees, licenses, fines, and a large portion is grant revenues. That's primarily sewer and gas that you'll see further down. Expenses were projected at 13.7 million. 3.2 million is capital outlay, so a heavy amount of investment within the community and in the infrastructure is planned for 2027. 1.1 of that 3.2 mil is expected to be funded by state grants, and another 200,000 is expected to be funded by federal grants. So of that 3.2, you have roughly 1.3 that's being covered by federal and state funding. And then in your general fund, general and admin department, we're expecting expenditures of 1.6. And in public safety, we're expecting 2.1, which is pretty consistent with 2026. Which also includes capital investments of 122,000. In your roads and drainage, we're expecting expenditures of 1.4 million, which is a bit down from where we projected in 2026 due to some major improvements that were done during the year on some particular roads. And then for sanitation, we're expecting roughly 732,000 in expenditures, slightly up, but the revenue is also up in relation to that service. And then we're expecting 4.6 million in utility expenses. This is up 2.3 million from where we expect to finish this year. However, this does include 2.3 million, well, it includes 2.3 million in capital outlay. 1.3 million of this is the reference I made earlier, which is 1.1 from the state funding and also another 200,000 from federal funding. So of that 2.3, you have 1.3 covered from federal and state sources. So overall, what we're projecting is a net deficit of 748,000 overall. This is after the city is projected to invest 1.8 million in its infrastructure. So heavily investing in the infrastructure and the capital needs of the town. But with that said, your net operating surplus would essentially be 1.1 million. So when you factor out the capital investments that you make that are sometimes one-time in nature and depending on the needs at that particular year, you're still operating at a surplus. And so the next couple of points are just breaking it down by how we project on a fund basis. So your general fund will remains relatively consistent with 2026. We'll monitor it. Sales tax kind of can float sometimes depending on activities. Like I said, 2024 and 2025 were peak years, and we've seen that kind of level out in 2026. Property tax millages are based on actual collections from this year, so they were up, and they've been kind of trending at a moderate rate, so you can expect a little bit of an increase there. And then franchise taxes are also projected at actual collections for 2026, which we're projecting to have a peak year as far as franchise fees go. Expenditures, for the most part, the departments are budgeted consistently with 2026. This budget does incorporate a 4% personnel adjustment, but it excludes elected officials. Some additional changes are we're expecting a decrease in general government of roughly 117,000. This was due to some one-time repairs that we had to do on some facilities this year. And we're also expecting a decrease in road and drainage, as mentioned above, due to some additional improvements of some streets that were performed this year as well. Specific to the general fund, capital outlay is projected at 626,000. Most of that is building and facility improvements of 305,000, and then the remainder is various equipments amongst various departments. And then so for the general fund, we're projecting a net surplus of 577,000, and this is after we perform capital investments of 626,000. Looking on to the next page of the summarized handout. For your water and gas, we are expecting revenues to be up from the previous years. That means 2025 and 2024. Probably be slightly down from 2026 just due to a spike. So we are just kind of basing it off an average. Once again, personnel costs are projected to increase due to a 4% adjustment. And then remaining expenditures are projected to be pretty comparable with the exception of capital outlay. You do have 70,000 of capital outlay funded. This fund would projected to operate at a net deficit of 252,000, but that's after we take out capital outlay, which is one-time investments in nature, and also depreciation, which is a non-cash of 187. So ultimately, it is operating at a cash surplus. However, we do have some non-cash items in there, bringing that number down. And then for sewer, we are expecting revenues to increase by approximately 184,000 as a result of some rate study increases that were performed. Expenditures are expected to be comparable to 2026 with higher capital outlay. In this fund, this is where we have majority of our capital outlay budgeted, as the emphasis throughout this projected fiscal year is in the sewer department. It's projected a net deficit of 1.1 million overall, with 1.2 million in city-funded capital outlay. So taking out these one-time funding intentions of the city, that this fund would actually still be operating at a surplus. It's just when you have these capital investments, this is what it takes to kind of operate and keep performing at the levels that you are. And this is also considering a 205,000 depreciation expense, which will put it at a surplus as well due to a non-cash item. And then some other, your various other funds, you do have your City Hall Municipal Complex, that's your debt service that has remained consistent. And your Section 8 fund is also pretty much consistent as it relates to its activity. And the page after that does have the summary. It's more of a horizontal view. It does summarize kind of, you can see where you project the land from a net surplus. And then after you add back your one-time expenditures of capital outlay, which is 1.8, and you can see where operationally you're operating at a 1.1 surplus, And then you could even add back your non-cash items such as depreciation. That'll get you at a 1.5 cash surplus. So even though there's a heavy investment projected for 2027, the city is still performing well operationally. It just sometimes you have these one-time expenditures that are just reinvestments into the community. And so that's an overview. Like I said, from here we can communicate on any inputs that you all may have or any considerations, and then we can connect, and if we have to make any alterations, we can, but with the intention of considering it for adoption at the June meeting.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So, with the, Section 8 fund,
Mm-hmm.
I guess why is it always over budget? I know before, what comes in normally goes out. I know that's how it used to be. When I did Section 8, I know that's how it started, when Ms. Deloach, started doing. So, do they just send more money, or is it the interest that sits, like, so how does it go, I guess, over budget? We keep, the auditors keep, I guess, finding us or writing us up or bringing that to the public's attention. I guess that's a question that I have. Because I thought it was just kind of like an in and out, that they send it to us, we pay the landlords and the tenants, and then it goes, it goes out. So,
Yeah, that's typically the case. What you get is what you give in that fund. You all typically get a small surplus, but what I've noticed is, and this may be one thing we can keep an eye on too, is that over the last couple of years, the activity has increased, and so whereas we always budget this fund to break even, the activity's kind of. I know sometimes it can increase due to transfers in. That actually counts on the city's books if there was a voucher that was transferred in. But it's mainly just, it's not that it's coming in over or under budget, it's that we just have to increase our projections. It still breaks even, if that answers your question.
okay, and then I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as, and I don't know if it's for you, or for Mr. Daigle, or for our attorneys, but, I always had this question, and I don't wanna ruffle any feathers, but, with the sales tax, how do we know that it's proportioned correctly? We have other businesses coming, but I haven't seen from, just say, last year, since I've been in office, to this year, no change, I guess, in revenue, other than, I know it spiked, a couple, but I think that was due to something we had going on. But I guess, how do we know if it's proportioned correctly? Is that something that we need to look into, or you as the firm that's helping us, or our attorneys, or Mr. Daigle?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, so sales tax, it is driven based on the activity, but you're right, there also is an allocation factor. I know sometimes I haven't seen the packet that you all may receive from the parish, but it usually gives a breakout. In the past, I've seen where municipalities would reach out to the parish and just kind of question that. It is something we could look into. I don't have like a direct answer for you, but it's not the first time I've seen that question arise where it's challenged to where if you're being appropriated correctly. So typically it's a follow-up just with that office, whatever parish that's distributing the sales tax.
I don't want it to go down, but of course we would want it to go up if we were due, more. So I just wanted to know where those allocations come from, if it's something, because I know it's, we've had, the Shell plant has come since I've been in. We've had other businesses, so I just want to make sure that we're fairly getting our portion.
No, I mean, I think it's something we're looking into just to make sure that, like you said, your assumption's correct. And that's something we can touch base on. Any other questions?
This is actually going to be the hardware for the meter readers to input the data, where there's still going to be manual reading. This is not to go wireless on the meters. Yeah, the hardware that we currently have and the software that we currently have for the meter readers to put information was end of life 2021. So this is to update that infrastructure, not the meters themselves.
Thank you all.
Actually, we need to actual motion to, but do I need to? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can I entertain a motion for the introduction of
I
the
make a
ordinance?
motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Joseph, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 16, first reading and introduction of an ordinance adopting the 2026-27 annual operating budget for the city of Port Allen. Introduction only, no vote or on adoption at this meeting. Mr. Dable?
Mr. Smith summarized our budget for you. So the previous agenda item was the ordinance to amend the current budget. This agenda item is the ordinance for the new budget. Same procedures follow. We just are introducing this ordinance. So since it's an ordinance, it does need a first and second for the introduction, not adopting it. The adoption will be held at the next meeting after the public hearing for both of these ordinances.
I second.
Motion by Councilman Hubble, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so 16A would be, ask to amend the agenda, so we did that. So it's for paying the roof, the difference for the roof repair at the D'Agostina building on the corner of Port and Jefferson, up to 10,000. We were allotted 100,000, once they tore the roof off, of course. A lot of the boards, I do have pictures, a lot of the boards were rotten, once I did the walkthrough. So they realized once they tore it off, of course it was raining, so we had to make an emergency decision. So it is up to 10,000. I don't have the actual quote in front of me. That's why we asked up to 10,000. It's not 10, but it's close to it. So we're safe with asking up to 10. It was 100,000. Yes. Can I entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion. I second.
A motion by Councilwoman King, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 17, first reading and introduction of an ordinance to amend section 86 through 3 of the Port Allen Code of Ordinance to allow for utility payment plans and other matters. Mr. Davis?
So I forwarded you the entire packet. All we're doing today is just introducing the ordinance to amend 86.3, because currently the ordinance does not allow formally any payment plan or extensions or contracts. So since our ordinance doesn't allow, we've got to first amend the ordinance, and then next month when we adopt, well, if you adopt the ordinance, then the next agenda item after that would be approving the actual written policy that would govern these things. So you, in your packet, you do have an overview of it, the actual ordinance. It is slightly updated, the ordinance, from language from our attorneys from what I had forwarded to you. So the one in your packet is the current reading of the amendment to that ordinance. And then we're continually fine-tuning the actual utility payments extension and payment policy. So next month would be voting on both of those pending your approval. Tonight, we're just introducing the amendment to amend the ordinance to allow for these payment plans.
Do we have any questions about this first? Okay, motion by Councilwoman King, second by Councilman Hubbard. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Roll call, please.
Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon? Yes. Mr. Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, thank you. 17A, is, asking to, enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement for Family Day in the Park with One West Baton Rouge Association. I think they came early on, and we had a discussion about it, but it wasn't for a vote. So we're asking for, you all to vote for this tonight. It would be the same agreement that we've had for the past several years.
Okay.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Hubble,
I second.
second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this? Roll call, please.
Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Abstain.
Hubble? Yes. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And I think we received something, Ms. Gordon, but we couldn't, start the process on it until we had the vote, for picture, I think 360 or something. We did receive that already. Okay, 18, approval of a liquor license application for Couillon's, Cajun Barbecue. I think, it's late, it's from Couillon's. I think, Mr. Mason realized, going through the OLTs, that they were missing the OLT, but they also didn't have their alcohol license. Paul is definitely one. As soon as we called, he came straight over to pay it. He didn't realize they, I guess, didn't get it, just day-to-day stuff. So he came in right then to pay it. So we're just asking for the approval. So if you say, oh, well, he's the only one, that's why, because it's not technically that time of year. But we are asking that, you approve, Couillon's for them to keep operating.
Make a motion.
I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this? Roll call, please.
Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble? King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, some correspondence, we have a few. Just want you all to know, we did hire 2 meter readers. They will start on the 21st. Dire need, we have 2, but, we have 2 more. The new subdivision Thursday. He won't be here on Fridays. I did explain to him we have a few events coming up, so we may need him to do, you know, the TV, for Juneteenth or, the leadership camp at William and Lee. So his expertise can be utilized then. So he will, only work, like I said, 16 hours unless we call him on the weekends for different, activities that we may have. And he will be starting at $15 an hour. So we will get with the attorneys. I felt because he's IT, he may need to sign something with us, being that he'll be working with our software or something. I wasn't sure about that, but, Ms. Tamika and I did kind of express that to him, so he won't disclose any information, for the city. Y'all voted on the intern already. He won't be, yeah, he'll just be helping with IT he won't be our technical city IT, but he's just a summer intern for 6 weeks. So he'll be here basically the month of June. He'll start on the 21st and he'll be probably gone for the 4th of July. Unless, right. So, and he is, because he asked that, you know, can I work during school? So, you know, I said if we see where we can, that we will, but I talked to Mr. Daigle already, so we looked at the budget, and it wasn't a lot of hours. He wasn't full-time, so it was something that we can work in, now. Also, City Hall will be closed May 25th for Memorial Day. Also, Family Day in the Park festivities are May 23rd at William and Lee. What's the times? 12 to 7 p.m. And also, the leadership camp dates, is at William and Lee. Will be June 15th through the 26th. And it's 8 to noon daily, 5th through 8th graders. And lunch will be provided, daily for, all the kids. If anyone per se will need a ride, we will try to accommodate and work that out. But please call City Hall to register. If you know anyone, please register them. We only have a few right now, so I hate to cancel it. But, you know, I feel this will be something good for the community. I know it's not all day. Maybe next year we can do longer once we see how it actually goes.
What's the time?
8 to noon. Same hours the community center does, so I
How
mean,
many, children are you expecting to accommodate for?
I'm trying to do 30 this first
And
year.
where we at?
I'm not sure.
About 15 applicants, but some of them we have to kind of wean out because we do have a few that's not citizens here in Port Allen.
Yes, we're giving our citizens first preference, and then we'll look at the,
And the age group?
5th through 8th graders. All right, anyone else has anything else? Okay, adjourn.
All right, sir. Don't mess with it.
How's it going? Good. Pay for everything. With my first choice. What's that?
We need to have sports ball.
Yeah, they gave a nice stuff, but it wasn't. It didn't and you know, same here. You took and you get to spend everything. Yeah. So that was a tough one. Couldn't pass out. My wife's happy. That's all.